And I thought it was like the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Never knew that
Yeah.
story. I love that.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of the Talent Pieces podcast. Today, I have with me Allyson, Eman, CEO at Venture Atlanta, and Michael Malakhov, CEO at Carpool Logistics. Guys, it's a pleasure to have you all here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we already did last year, Allyson, an episode talking about Venture Atlanta. And today we want to have not just, again, your insights and what's coming for this year, which we look forward to, but also we look forward to have Michael's insight as an alumni company. You know, you can tell us firsthand what has been your experience and what is the outcome of being an alumni company at Venture Atlanta. So very much looking forward for y'all's point of view, okay?
Thank you.
So Michael, let me start with, can you take us back to how did you first heard of Venture Atlanta and what made you apply?
So I have an interesting story. I was in grad school at Emory, and one of the trips that we did was to Venture Atlanta to watch other founders pitch their companies. And I thought it was like the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I was like, I really want to be on that stage one day. And that was my first impression of
I love
Venture
that.
Atlanta. And it's amazing to come back around to say like I've actually done it.
Wow.
So I think like that was it was super exciting for
What
me
a cool
personally.
full circle moment.
Yeah.
So is this before starting Carpool Logistics?
This was way before starting. This is about 12 years before starting.
Wow.
Carpool
Oh my
Logistics, yes.
God. Never knew that
Yeah.
story. I love that.
Well, what an inspiration. And I always think about, a lot of founders that are still today, they already have their business, they're already having some progress, yet they feel it's not there yet. And I think you can relate to the feeling, we can all relate to the feeling of, I just need to tweak this or have this better to present and to kind of build my case. What will you advise to those startup founders that are looking to apply this year for their very first time?
Just get out there. I mean, starting a business, it's all about iterations and improvement constantly. Just you got to keep going. So it doesn't matter where you are. Just go tell the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. Tell the story. Get your name out there, and you'll make it better later. It doesn't have to be perfect.
That is so funny, and it's such a different perspective than a woman sometimes has. And I mean, I would love to, just really quickly comment that, as a female, a lot of times the founders are like, it's just not the perfect time. It's not the perfect time, and they wait for every I dotted and T crossed. And I would echo what Michael said is that just get it out there. Just put yourself out there and put that company out there, and you'll be amazed what happens.
Yeah, we definitely need a lot more of that girl power.
Yes.
Going for it. I think I've met some female founders that are building just some amazing stuff here in Atlanta and just across the entire ecosystem, and just any way that we can motivate more of that, more of those applications. We very much look forward to that. Can you walk us a little bit about the process on the application for you, and how did you prepare for that very first time?
Yeah. So, application process wasn't very complicated, right? So we had to put together who we are, what's the problem we're solving, and some traction numbers just to showcase, and then really build the presentation around why do we exist. And then, but Venture Atlanta, I mean, it was very supportive for us to go through a couple iterations with some feedback. How do we improve? How do we tighten up our spiel? Because we don't have a lot of time on the stage. So you have to really get the story tight and get it out there to make sure that the right information gets in front of the public. So I think some folks make mistakes by not practicing the time, because the time catches up with you very quickly. So
3 minutes, it goes quick.
The time
Very
is
quick.
of essence. So you get the pitch really tight. Be shorter than longer, because you don't get the story across. It just doesn't sit as well as, hey, I was able to tell a story in 3 minutes and get the most important parts of information. So it does require some practice, gathering some information up front, but again, it's not that complicated.
Two thoughts that come top of my head there is, the first one is, it doesn't have to be perfect when you want to start pitching, right? Because first is you get more reps. You feel more comfortable telling your story.
Right.
And the second part is you get so much valuable feedback, right? Things that it's not just about your business. Probably no one can tell you how to run your business better than you do, but storytelling is very important when you're pitching. And there's a lot of people, especially in Venture Atlanta, that can help you how to improve that story, how to send that message in the right way.
So we do, once you get selected for Venture Atlanta, you actually get 2 rounds of coaching. And I have personally sat through every coaching session almost in 18 years. So that's a lot of coaching sessions. I think I've missed a few. But there are some folks here in town and around the country that contribute their time every year. I mean, there are some people that literally make sure that they're always. One of our alumni, Lawrence Gilroy from Real Theory, I almost build the coaching around him. He is one of the best coaches. And there's some incredible other people here in town: Mike Dowdle, Alan Mosley, Spence McClellan. There's the list goes on and on. But the great thing is that I guarantee every single company that you learned something during that coaching that made your company better. I mean, last year we had a person that pitched, Alice from Ovum Health, and Lawrence actually spent extra time with her. After Venture Atlanta, she went on to win something at TechCrunch Disrupt, a million other things, wrote a testimonial for us. She was like, that coaching single-handedly changed my company. So, you're getting so much more than just pitching on stage for 3 minutes. And I think that's important for people to understand.
Yeah. And talking about the 3 minutes part, which is, hey, you don't have to ever explain. Like, if you have the right wording, if you know how to tell your story, 3 minutes is more than enough. Like,
absolutely,
it has to be very straightforward, very easy to understand. So, from the founders that are listening to our podcast, what's the one piece of advice that y'all give them if they're on the fence about applying?
I mean, there is no reason not to apply. It's win-win-win. I mean, honestly, because one of the things about getting your company name out there and what you're about is what this opportunity is about. It's not about just raising money. It's about starting a conversation, getting the word out of who you are, what you're solving, and then it starts to build an ecosystem around you. And that's what startup is about. It's really about building the ecosystem and all the parties that come in to help you to achieve your goals, because you can't do it on your own. If you think you're going to do it on your own, it's not possible.
True.
You need all the support you can get. And Atlanta's done an amazing job to build an ecosystem that supports you. Not to use it is foolish.
Yeah. I mean, we're offering a free opportunity, right?
I was about to say that. It's a no-brainer.
Like, let me say the word again, free.
Yep.
So, if you apply and you take your 30 to 40 minutes, whatever, put your application together, as Michael said, you're giving your problem solution, your traction, and such. It's high reward, no risk. I mean, we're not collecting a bunch of money from you. And if you get selected, it's also free. And then you're getting the coaching, you're getting exposure to. Last year we had over 500 investors there.
Wow.
And I want to reiterate that no one else gets that many investors in all the conferences around. I have gone to 7 this year in the last few months. No one gets the numbers. And, the concentration of who comes to Venture Atlanta, you can't get that exposure. And, I would challenge anyone to tell me that it's cheaper to get on a plane and go to San Francisco for 2 weeks and, go down Sand Hill Road and raise money than putting in your application to Venture Atlanta, getting selected and pitching on stage. I mean, you can't fight me on that.
100%. I mean, and the other thing is you got to do your homework. Like, every time I've been to Venture Atlanta, I've been multiple times now, we have meetings all day. I mean,
and you're coming back this year, right?
Absolutely.
We're coming back. We're coming back.
I've lost voice because I was speaking that much. I mean, it's about building a network, building connections. You never know who's going to be supportive in the future. You don't have to be raising money. We're not raising money, but it's about starting a dialogue. Every time we raise money, we've created an ecosystem of people that already help us and support us. And we invest in that early on. And Venture Atlanta is a perfect place that enables you to do that in a 3-day period.
And, to Michael's point is you do not have to be raising capital to attend Venture Atlanta, obviously. So founders out there, I mean, we always get hundreds of founders that attend.
Right.
And we do have, a discounted rate for founders to, to be there. And that gives you access to everything. But, the great thing is Venture Atlanta is more than connecting you to capital. It's connecting you to talent. It's connecting you to customers. It's connecting you to, people that will help you grow your business, like lawyers and bankers and accountants and commercial real estate folks, executive search firms. Like, these are all people in the room because they're helping your company grow.
Absolutely.
The other thing to mention is it's not just Atlanta investors. Because
Right.
if you're in Atlanta,
yeah.
you can talk to Atlanta investors just about any time. But if you want to go broad, I mean, this is the best place to go and like start conversations with people you would never meet.
I've actually, during Venture Atlanta last year, met investors from Mexico and Canada,
Really?
which I thought that was very, very interesting.
I didn't even know that.
I've met
See,
Canadian
I
investors.
brought my fun
I've met
fact in.
Canadian investors.
I've definitely known Canada. I didn't know Mexico, so
Yeah.
that's good.
The other thing is, for last year, I planned my strategic planning meeting with my executive team around Venture Atlanta so we can all be here in Atlanta. One of my business partners who is in LA came and he was like, dude, this is absolutely not what I was expecting. Like in terms of all the logistics around the event, in terms of the attendance that you get to have, right? Like it's huge. And it's very unique to Atlanta in terms of how big it has become for the Southeast in Venture Atlanta.
Yeah.
So if I'm a startup founder, I'm preparing my pitch deck, I'm preparing my presentation, I'm ready to tell my story. What's something that you guys wish more of them understood before applying?
So my big thing, like I said, is I've sat through thousands of these, is I don't want to see the screenshots of your technology. So, you are on stage and no one is sitting there going, oh, I see this does this, and this does this. They want to know, again, the problem you're solving, your solution, the competition, your team, how much money you're raising, why you're the right person, founder, building this company. They don't want to know that here's a screenshot, and the screenshots are like my big pet peeve. And I can tell you every time the coaches are like, take those out. But the other thing is that all you're trying to do is, they kind of joke in coaching is get the next date, is like, this is like, you're just trying to get the next meeting where you're going to sit down for 30 minutes and you're going to have a great discussion. But, 3 minutes, no one expects you to tell everything about your company.
One other thing I will say, and again, different people do it differently, but there've been a lot of people like practice their pitches a lot. So it gets to like perfection. I haven't done that. To me, I go out and genuine
Game time.
building trust.
Yep.
Genuine building trust is more important that I get every word right.
Absolutely agree. It because then it also brings this authenticity component, right? It's like it's never going to be perfect. If you try to remember word by word, the moment you forget one word, you're out. You're absolutely,
it messes you up
absolutely.
it
completely.
messes you out.
Right.
So it's like you need to understand what are the messages that you're trying to deliver, and then it will just come natural.
It's actually really funny. My best speaking engagements are when I prepare nothing. So like I'll get it. People are like, oh, you're going to be speaking to whatever. And I'm like, great. And they're like, what do you prepared? I'm like, nothing. I'll be fine. And I'll just get up there and wing it. And when I first started with Venture Atlanta and I would get up and do speaking stuff, I would have note cards, stumbled over them, and I was like, no, that's it. No more note cards.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not telling founders to do this.
Everyone has its own
No
style.
one
Everyone
do what
has their
I
own
just said.
style.
Yeah. But
I think the message is just get out there.
Yeah.
just get out there. Absolutely. And then the other thing is, how depending on if you get nervous or anything, they tell you, don't look at the people, just focus on the screen or focus on something. Like when I'm giving a presentation and stage, I actually like to see the people because it's a temperature, a real-time temperature check on what am I delivering. If I see people saying, okay, I'm heading in the right direction, this is taking me places, so I should continue in this path. Like it gets to, like, you get to feel people's engagement. That's also really valuable. And it kind of reassurance, right, when you're on stage.
Right.
So, what should founders expect in terms of networking, the relations with the investors, and the momentum right after presenting? And, that's probably something that you've lived firsthand. So we'd love to have your point of view.
It's it's all about building relationships. I mean, it's kind of like sales as well, right? It's you start a pipeline and you start building relationships with people, and then hopefully those come to fruition at some point. So, but it's really about follow up. It creates initial connections, but as you go multiple times, you see this same people over and over. You grab a coffee, you give them an update. I mean, it really starts the snowball. What we've done is that has been very important for us is as we create new relationships, we add people to our newsletter and they get updates on our progress, what we're doing, and they may not even be interested in investing. You never know who's going to connect you with the right next party. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be an investor. It can be anybody that kind of supports you, help grow your business.
And
Introductions to customers and so anything else.
yeah, no, I was just gonna comment that, I think some founders think, I'm going to walk off stage and 10 investors are going to be in line, with a term sheet for me. It it doesn't always work like that. It takes time. It takes relationship building. I mean, I remember talking to a founder, Greg McGraw from Max Stadium years ago, and he had presented at Venture Atlanta, and like years later, he raised a ton of money from Summit Partners. But I mean, I remember him telling me the story that he was like, I presented at Venture Atlanta knowing I was, going for my Series B and it was going to take time or whatever. But he was like, it took years. So like you're planting the seeds and you're building those relationships. Now, ironically, as I'm talking about planting seeds, there's a company in town, Surfscape, and Mario, great founder, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, did I ever tell you the story that I got off stage and got a term sheet?" So happens, but not very often.
Right.
But I love when people tell me directly that, like, I met this investor at Venture Atlanta sitting at a meeting, or when investors tell me, hey, by the way, we connected with blah 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 at Venture Atlanta, and we invested in them. So we know that there are success stories, and there's tons of them. I mean, companies have raised over $8 billion now at Venture Atlanta.
Wow.
Very impressive.
And talking about, walking the room and creating relations, I remember one of our episodes that we had with Charles Robinson, and he was mentioning exactly that, like start building those relations before you actually need to raise a capital or you actually need an investor on your side. Like, and this goes back to alumni companies. If they can come back to Venture Atlanta, if they can start building those relations again, you, of course, as an alumni company, you're always there. But what about other alumni companies, and what can they expect from
Yeah.
Venture Atlanta?
So, we have over close to 1,000 alumni companies now. We want you to come back to Venture Atlanta. I mean, we don't want you to think it's a one and done type thing. So we've got 3 categories of companies, Carlos. So there's pre-seed and seed, there's early stage, and there's growth stage. So, every year we pick about 40 of these showcase companies, and we've been doing this for about 8 years. We've been picking the showcase companies, but those are companies that we expect that in a couple of years are going to be stage ready. So when they were at the showcase, they were not on stage. So if you were a company that perhaps started several years ago and you're like, God, now we're really building and we're looking to raise 5 million or 10 million or 20 million, come back to Venture Atlanta. I mean, put your application back in. And we would love to have you back. Now, on the flip side, if your company was, a growth stage company and you pitched 2 years ago and you haven't raised money, you want to come back, unlikely you're going to get back on stage. I mean, we just want to give other people an opportunity, because I think what people need to remember is we're selecting companies from across the Southeast, not just Atlanta, So it used to be pretty easy to get into Venture Atlanta. It's not anymore. Last year we had 650 applications and we picked 80 companies. So,
Wow.
you do the math. I mean, it's hard to get in. I mean, we do still get a majority from Georgia, and we do typically have about 40% of our companies selected from Georgia, but it's not 80%, so we try to be fair. But the other thing is, as an alumni, you can still have full participation in the conference. So we kick off the event every year at an alumni dinner. It's awesome event. Last year we had over 100 alumni there,
Wow.
and Goldman Sachs and DLA Piper and EY and TriNet are sponsors of that this year. You like how I rattled that off? Anyway.
That was good. That was good.
And so, we've got this incredible alumni dinner, Epicurean Hotel rooftop. It's awesome. And then last year we introduced some executive sessions. So, really from some founders who have some folks who have truly scaled some huge businesses, talking about sales or go-to-market strategy or talent or, whatever the case may be. So last year we did 4 of those sessions, and they were small and they were very well received. Well, this year we're doing 8, and they're a little bit bigger, and there's a lot more programming. We're also introducing a procurement panel and breakout session where, kind of this whole idea of demystifying the procurement. How do you sell into these companies like IHG and Sephora and Honeywell and Cox and some really big names that we're super excited to be bringing to Venture Atlanta. So there's always something new. So I don't think you have to go and be like, well, I'm going to see the same people and I'm going to learn the same thing. There's no way you are.
No, and it's a very diverse audience from what you were saying of the selected companies, but also companies that are not pitching, just startup founders that
Right.
show up, that they want to learn, that they want to be part of the ecosystem. I actually met people from Texas, from Alabama, from North Carolina, and that speaks about it's not just ATL-based companies, but from the entire Southeast region, right? From Florida, we have a huge attendance.
Oh,
of
yeah.
just
We go all the way
people
up to
walking the
Maryland,
room.
Virginia. There's actually a group in the DC area, the VC in DC. It's a group of investors. And the last 3 years, they've had a bunch of people come down. They do their own little side event. And I went up to DC a couple weeks ago for an event, and they're like, we're all in. We can't wait to come.
That's awesome. So for people that just can't wait to join Venture Atlanta this year, what can they expect? What's coming up for this year?
Well, I just gave you some of my tips. We announced Garrett Langley from Flock Safety as our keynote speaker. So he's an alumni, great story. We'll have our pitches. We are putting together our showcase again for the $500,000 award or investment. So we're excited about that. We've got some new funds involved there. We've got, like I said, these executive sessions. We've got more. So kind of the way I looked at it is, for a long time, Venture Atlanta was one size fits all. Everyone go in the main room, everyone watch the same content, everyone be happy there. Well, obviously you need to diversify, you need to grow, you need to look at things differently. And we know that, as a founder, you want to learn certain things. As an investor, you want to learn certain things. Cox Enterprises is going to be doing a great session. Wellstar is going to be doing a great session. So there's going to be some more smaller sessions that are going to, help folks. We're bringing back the tent. That was cool last year and everyone enjoyed. And we're doing less in the big room. So we're literally on day 2, not going into Symphony Hall at all. So we're going to have people kind of all over the place and, just making sure everyone really has the best experience they can.
See, there was still a lot more to tell. Michael, and, how we have focused on this podcast is always about, finding the right talent, how good talent help companies scale. So as you started scaling after Venture Atlanta, what role did hiring and building the right team play in your growth?
I mean, that's all it's about. I mean, it's about building a team. Obviously, as we raised our last round of capital, we did our Series A. We started to continue to bring on more professional and continue to build out different functions. We're in the process of adding on a VP of finance. We brought on VP of sales. So all these different roles and structure to enable us to continue to grow. I mean, those are the things that we're heavily focused on. So we look for those opportunities from all different angles. We have networking that we do with people that we met. We go to different conferences that we meet people. It's kind of grassroots, but also we get a lot of referrals. Part of building this ecosystem is they support you with different referrals and different people that kind of reach out to you that we've hired a lot through that channel as well.
And obviously you've gotten a lot of value, and I think founders get a lot of value in being a part of Atlanta Tech Village, or
Absolutely.
When people are at ATDC or Tech Alpharetta or Atlanta Tech Park or the Russell Center, we have these incredible especially here in Atlanta, incubators that really, I believe, do a great job building companies.
100%. I mean, we've been in this at ATV from day one, and I think I've been on every single floor. Now we have 3 offices in the building.
Wow, I
And
didn't
we're
Go
realize
ATV and
that.
go carpool.
That's right. I mean,
That's awesome.
we love the place. We love the culture.
They haven't kicked you out yet.
No, not yet. We're kind of sticking in. So
How big's your team now, Michael?
so we have 55 people in the U.S., and then we have a team that we open an office in the country of Georgia. We have 15 people there, and then we have about 20 people in Ukraine.
That's huge.
That's
That's
awesome.
huge. And that also speaks about international talent, right? And how they can help companies scale. There's no such thing as one share fits for all, right? Like good talent can be everywhere. And if you know how to leverage that, that's going to bring tremendous value to your organization. So how important was it in the stage of raising capital and for Venture Atlanta? How important is it to show that you have the right team or access to the right talent when you're pitching with investors?
I mean, it's a big part, right? Because it's not just about the idea. A lot of times investors are looking to, do you have the right team to make it happen? Ideas are a dime a dozen.
Yep.
It's all about the execution, and execution comes from the team. So do you have the right people that are going to make it happen? It's really what it's about.
No, absolutely. And, when we're selecting companies, we look at that, again, we will look at that they're a repeat founder, that, they've got someone, they're a hospitality company and they've got someone on their advisory board from Marriott, or they're in the car industry and there's someone from Mercedes, or, whatever the case may be. But, all the time when founders are pitching, they're like, and I've got the right team behind me. And this is why, and I think it's so important to have the right talent. And I think, one of the sessions we're doing this year, is about talent, is about, how you scale, or, how you go from 5 people to 10 or 10 to 50, because sometimes, companies have had issues where they hire too quickly,
Oh, yeah.
and then they have to retract, and then they have to, lay off people. And it's like, you've got to find that right mix.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, I also wanted to highlight is company culture, right? Because it helps in 2 different things. The first one is what you were mentioning before, which is the referrals. Like, if you got people referring to your business, both internal referrals and outside, there's a message out there that as a company culture, as a potential that you have, then there's something great going on. And the second part is commitment. If you can go to your investors and say, I have a team that is behind me, that is very committed to this success, it means that they believe in what you believe, and that cannot be replaced with anything.
That's right.
So any final advice for companies for Venture Atlanta 2025?
Get your applications in and don't wait till the last day. So August 8th is the last day, and I'm sure you guys will not be surprised that we get about 85% of our applications in the last day. And understand, we've got a committee of over 100 people of our sponsors, and we actually will have this all posted on our website very soon of who's on that committee. But go to those people, reach out to them on LinkedIn and ask them for help, with your application. They're like ready and willing and able, to do that. But don't put it in the last day. Like, you're going to get it looked at a little bit closer, may have a little better chance if you don't wait till the last day.
Absolutely. Anything on your side?
Again, it's a great opportunity to get your name out there as a business and start building your network of people that are going to support you to continue to build your business.
And even if you're not raising capital, just come to Venture Atlanta.
It doesn't matter. That's
It'll
right.
be fun.
Just come.
You're going to learn a lot. You're going to create a lot of connections. So,
Yep.
Well, Allyson, Michael, I really appreciate you both making the time for this conversation. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very valuable for the founders and startup leaders that are looking at our podcast. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Let me give one last plug, because we did not say this. It's October 15th and 16th this year. And to apply, it's ventureatlanta.org.
Thank you very much. See you all. Bye.
Thanks.